guys?
I just wanted to center in on Frederick.
Make sure you get my good side.
You look great.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pressing record.
You guys good to back? Freddie, do you want to say anything, or do you just want to go right to questions?
No, I just, I want to compliment the guys on kind of, working to get better each and every day. It really hasn't been about Connecticut at this point. And, we're just trying to do a good job of, staying where our feet are and getting better each and every day collectively and individually. And I think these guys have done a good job of kind of knocking out some of the distractions and doing that.
How many guys that are in
Andrew, I thought I routed.
I gave him like
Yeah,
half a
what
second.
are you
Go ahead.
doing, man?
No, please. I yield.
Go ahead.
I yield to Rupert. Go ahead. All right. How many guys that are in the portal right now are still practicing as well, just in case?
There's a bunch of guys. I don't know the exact number, but everybody's out there practicing right now except for maybe one or two.
Freddie, who do you have? Who do you have at offensive coordinator since Chip left?
We're collectively doing it as an offensive staff, and Lonnie's kind of scripting and getting us prepared for practice each and every day.
And who, just to follow up on that, who do you see calling plays in the bowl game?
Yeah, I don't think we've really determined that yet. We're just trying to get better each and every day, and that really doesn't require a play caller on Thursday, a week and a half before the game.
Freddie, I know you said it's not all about UConn right now, but in your initial study of them, what is it that jumps out about them, and what could be a challenge for you guys?
Well, I think, it's more about us than anything, with this time of year especially. Again, I'll reiterate, we're trying to just stay and get better each and every day on whatever we're doing, whether we're working on third down in general or first or second down, play action, goal line, red zone. It doesn't matter, whatever the day of emphasis is, that's what we're trying to do is get better.
Adam mentioned offensive coordinators. Is Coach Collins still going to be calling the defensive plays?
Yes, Coach Collins. Nothing's really changed from an offensive or defensive staff or special team staff per se. All of our coaches are here except for Chip, and of course we're going to miss Chip, but we'll make up for it.
Freddie, what was the, kind of process of, becoming the interim, obviously day after the state game you were named, just what was that process and those conversations like?
Yeah, I think, I don't really know what the process, I didn't make that decision, and, I'm here just to serve Carolina and be the best version of myself I can be for us at this time.
What was the challenge for you that Sunday? You're named interim head coach. You have to deal with the team. What were some of those early challenges? What was your initial message to them that you kind of tried to maintain throughout?
Well, I think the team, for the most part, they know me, they understand me, they know how I operate. I'm kind of a straight shooter, and I don't really pull any punches, and they know that that's what they were going to get the whole time. And really, it's just a matter of the guys that may not know me as well getting to know me. And I think I've done a good job of allowing them to get to know me, and they've done a good job of reciprocating.
As the search carried into past 2 weeks, and regardless of what some speculation that was going on out there, did it become increasingly difficult to kind of keep the kids focused on now when they didn't know who the coach was going to be and maybe thought one would have been named a little bit sooner?
Yeah, I don't think that never came up really. I think we've got a good group of kids. They're good kids, and also they're good at the ability to, stay where their feet are and stay focused on what they're doing at that moment. And they did a good job of that. It didn't hurt that finals fell in there too.
As far as game planning, where does Coach Belichick come down on that?
Well, Coach Belichick is really, he's leaving it up to the staff right now, but he's aware of everything that we do on each and every day. He's aware of practice and things like that. But right now, I think we're just going to finish the year out, and then we'll go from there.
What does the depth chart look like in the offensive backfield?
I think it's probably you take Amarian out of the equation and everything else you've got in the rest of the year.
Freddie, do you have, when you're talking about Belichick and being aware of practice, I guess keeping an eye on practices, being out there when you can, do you give him a practice report daily, or just go by his office and say look, here's what I got for, give him a breakdown? How does that work, just with the sort of relaying the information, I guess?
Yeah, well, Coach Belichick and I are in contact, and we talk every day. And he asks questions, I answer the questions, and so he's fully aware of everything dealing with this program since day one. So nothing's changed with that.
So how did the process play out with him naming you as the first publicly announced assistant coach? What were some of those conversations, and what is your role going to be, or do you know 100% what your role is going to be?
Well, I think whatever my role is will remain between Coach Belichick and I. And, when he gets ready to announce those things, he'll do that. And that's not for me to decide or announce.
He did say in his introductory press conference that you were going to be on the staff. So if you could tell us kind of how that played out and why you want to be on the staff with him, and just kind of take us into some of that.
Well, I've known Coach Belichick for a while, and we've competed against each other when I was in Cleveland and even when I was in Arizona. So I think Coach Belichick knows who I am, and I know who he is certainly, and that's about all I have to say about that. As far as how things happen and things like that, that's kind of we keep that between ourselves.
Does the Parcells connection play in there too, Freddie, since you worked for him and Belichick worked for him? Like, do you guys share a common bond with under the Parcells tree, maybe?
Well, I think ultimately I feel very fortunate on who I've had an opportunity to work for, even going back to Daryl Dickey, Sylvester Croom, Coach Parcells, Coach Saban, Rick Trickett, Ken Wisenhunt, Bruce Arians. So I feel very fortunate on everybody and you still have to produce and you have to perform with anybody you did, and hopefully I did that for Coach Parcells. So if that helped me in any way, so be it, but I'm not sure.
What are your thoughts on him doing this? With someone, you've been in the NFL, you're in college, and there were bigger differences before. Now there aren't as many differences. What are your thoughts about a guy who's experienced what he has now embarking on this kind of challenge?
Well, I think, again, that's a question for him to answer. It's not for me to answer, but, I love the fact that he wanted to come to Carolina. I love Carolina. I want what's best for Carolina, and I know right now at this moment in time, Coach Belichick's best for Carolina.
Was there shock for you at all, Freddie? Like, this thing shocked a lot of people, especially when they first heard it. Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Were you stunned?
I think the longer you stay in this business, the least amount you can be shocked, but no, not at all. Coach Belichick's a ball coach. And, I feel very fortunate to be able to extend and work here at Carolina for him and for the people at Carolina. And at the end of the day, he's a ball coach, and I enjoy working for ball coaches.
And just to follow up on that, is that something that you yourself have experienced coming back from the NFL? Like, has coming back to college, I don't know, refreshed you, reinvigorated you? Like, is that something that you have found since you spent all that time in the NFL?
Well, I think
That ball is ball?
on a personal level, I got into this business for the reason why I got into this business was because of some of the biggest impacts of my life were my college football coaches. And I kind of lost track of that a little bit in the NFL after 16 years. And I had the opportunity with my daughters going to college and family life really not being the same in college football and in the NFL. It was a good opportunity for us to decide what we wanted to do, my wife and I. So we decided to give college a try. And I realized why I enjoyed college football so much. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the NFL football, but if I can impact a kid from 18 to 22 in a positive manner, I think that's worth it. So the same as people did for me.
Yeah.
Freddie, you talked about, of course, as a staff, you guys doing a lot collectively, in preparation, not even just for UConn, but just individually. I guess how different for you has it been, overseeing pretty much, everything and just taking a broader view as opposed to during the season when you're kind of more on your position with things?
Well, I think, of course, it's a different role and a different job description, and my responsibilities change. But at the end of the day, however I factor in offensively or defensively or overall scheme of things, really it's just to try to put the player in the best position to be successful. Whether that be as a position coach, a coordinator, a head coach, it doesn't matter. You're still trying to just put them in the best position to be successful.
How have you seen some of the guys that, and again, I know several guys are still around, even if they might be in the portal going to, whatever. How have you seen some of the guys that they kind of will have an increased rep count? How different do they seem in practice? Maybe some of the running backs, like you mentioned, like how different have they kind of approached practice?
Well, I think, we try to create these practices to be very competitive. And I think, when you stay where your feet are, you're trying to get better, and you try to create competition. I think that's always a good thing. You see, some people thrive with competition and some people don't. And, we'd rather find out about it on the practice field than on game day.
How does the playbook change from the last couple of games to the Fenway Bowl?
I think, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and give away like plays and stuff we're working on and stuff like that. I mean, you have to go to the game next Saturday. We got a lot of trick plays for them. Okay, just kidding.
Just
Freddie,
tweeted.
did you, even before Belichick started talking about it, did you notice that the college game was morphing into what the NFL was like maybe 10 or 15 years ago?
Definitely. I think, anytime you include the acquisition of players, people are going to draw similarities to the National Football League. And, that's part of our job description now in college football is player acquisition, retention, terms that really have not been used in college football before. And of course, that all started with the, I don't know the history behind it, but that all started with the NIL era and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's definitely some similarities. I don't know how much these guys have to go to school. These guys getting good grades are important to these guys, at least our guys. And, so there's still things that these guys have to think about and worry about that the National Football League players do not. But at the end of the day, there's some similarities from the standpoint of player retention and acquisition.
I know you talked about the players having their feet on the ground, but when the Belichick hire was announced, was there a buzz about the locker room? Could you feel the excitement for the opportunity in front of them?
Well, I think anytime you have a new beginning, there's going to be excitement. But the excitement turning into a good thing is up to the individual player, which goes back to staying where your feet are and trying to get better each and every day on whatever you're doing, whether it's in math or geology. I went to a geology class the other day just to check on some guys. So it's it all goes back to that. I mean, the excitement ends after a while for the player, and it becomes about the work. What kind of work do they want to put in? Who do they want to be as a player? Who do they want to be as a team? So ultimately, all that is like things that they can't control, and we try to rely on things that we can control rather than that.
Did you learn anything in the geology class?
I did, a couple of things. Can't repeat, I'll let the geology professor talk about that.
Classes are out. I mean, you can repeat it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We may still have some guys waiting for grades.
And also, just kind of going off that too, maybe it's presumptuous with Bill Belichick for anyone to give him coaching advice. But if you were to kind of impart some wisdom as someone who's come back from the NFL back to college recently, is there anything that stands out to you as like, yeah, this is things to keep in mind?
Yeah, I think you're right with your comment. I'm not going to give him advice. I'm going to try to soak in all I can from him and be a better coach because of it.
Freddie, I assume since you became the interim and you're making more speeches to the group collectively, like what has been your general message just to these guys over the last couple of days or weeks, and how do you expect them to play when we get to Boston?
Well, I expect them to play well, and hopefully they expect themselves to play well, and that's how they're preparing to play well. If not, they shouldn't be out there. And every time we go on the field, we should be preparing ourselves to play well. But goes along with that is you got to prepare yourself to practice well. And before you can do anything exceptional on game day, you have to do it during the week. And again, it goes back to, I know I'm being redundant here, but just stay with whatever you're doing right there and try to get better, whether it's in the weight room, on the practice field, in the classroom, it doesn't matter. Just wherever you're at, stay where you're at.
While you're in the interim role right now, have you had much to do with recruiting or portal stuff since Coach Belichick was hired? And if so, have you seen like a significant change in how kids view North Carolina or the interest they have because Coach Belichick's now in that role?
Yeah, I don't want to get too much specifics about how I view or we view the players that we're actually recruiting, but yes, I think college football coaches are always recruiting. We're always coaching. We're always talking to our players and trying trying to create a better environment for them individually as a student athlete, and put them in the best position to win.
And if you are involved to communicate with these kids right now, are you hearing a different kind of response and excitement from them about how they view North Carolina right now because of Coach Belichick?
Yeah, I think anytime Coach Belichick talks to someone on the phone, whether it be a recruit's parent, or anything dealing with that potential athlete, for us, there's definitely an excitement, and so anybody wants to come on.
What excites you personally just the most about this new chapter of UNC football?
Say that again. Say it one time.
Just new chapter of UNC football.
Yeah.
What excites you the most?
Well, it excites me that we get to line up when we come back Sunday from giving them a couple days off here, that we have the opportunity to get better, like every other day. The kids get a chance to put their best foot forward each and every day. And then next Saturday, we get to go out and try to see if we've gotten better. So I'm a short-term vision kind of guy right now. And my job right now, my role right now is just to make sure I can do everything in my power, and the rest of the coaches do everything in their power to get this team ready to play next Saturday. So that's really the only thing we're focused on right now. It's not setting a next chapter or anything like that. It's just really staying literally whatever we're doing that day to get better.
Just on the upcoming game, obviously, you have your opt-outs with, players like Amari, but what are you saying, if anything, just particular advice to guys like J.J. Jones, for instance, who are playing in this bowl game, really want to use it to elevate their draft stock there?
Again, prepare well, go play well. That's all we ask, is prepare well, prepare like that's the only thing on your mind at that moment, and then go and put that on the field on game day. And that's really the only thing they can control. They can't control, right now, they can't control what they run in April at with the 40-yard dash. They can only control what's on tape. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the NFL people, they're going to watch what's on tape. They're not going to, they're going to all worry about the stopwatches and stuff like that in April, but at the end of the day, it's always going to go back to what they put on tape.
Freddie, to a point, this new regime, Coach Belichick, Michael Lombardi have talked about this potentially being a football factory. If you want to go to the next level, you play here. How much does you guys experience at that next level play into what you're teaching these kids right now, and potentially guys that want to come here?
I think for any potential student athlete for the University of North Carolina, it would be asinine for them not to consider and want to come to the University of North Carolina. What are you looking for is what I would ask. The preparation to get you ready to play at the next level, if that's a goal of yours, then we should be at the top of anybody's list. So I think for them to come in and to be in a weight program that they're going to continue in the NFL. We're going to have a professional weight program. We're going to have a professional organization, how it's run, how we practice, everything dealing with the football side of things is going to be run like the NFL. So if you want to prepare like an NFL player, come to North Carolina.
And then secondly, have you been to Fenway Park, and what is it going to be like for you to be playing a football game there?
I have been to Fenway Park, just not inside. So when my daughter was visiting different schools and things like that, we went to Boston and toured 3 or 4 schools up there in that Boston area. And so I have been to Fenway Park, walked beside Fenway Park. They just wouldn't let us in. We didn't have a ticket.
I know one thing you said earlier was it's pretty much everybody's still there except like 1 or 2 guys. I guess as far as players that are in the portal that are playing on next week, how many meetings did you kind of have to set up to kind of check this, who's still around and who's going to keep playing?
Yeah, I think, our guys are very responsible from the standpoint of they let us know if they're thinking about doing something or they actually got in the portal or whatever. And then when they saw who the coach was, they immediately got out. So that's a testament to them as well as Coach Belichick. But yeah, they show up to practice every day. That's all we need to know.
What's the
I hope
practice?
that answered your question. I'm not trying to avoid it, it's just, I don't really know how to answer that question.
What's the practice schedule been since exams? Are you going every day up until the bowl game, or what?
No, we've been going, up until this week, they had finals, and we took that in consideration and things like that with our practicing, but really it's been probably every other day, I guess, and then we're gonna give them a 2-day vacation, kind of come back Sunday. We felt like it was important for them to go home and spend some time with their family before we went to Boston.
So they're off Friday and Saturday?
Sir?
Off Friday and Saturday?
Yes, sir.
So what is the itinerary when they come back? What's your travel itinerary going up there?
You know what? I'm not there yet. I literally practice what I preach, and I'm staying where my day is, or where my feet is, and I'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm not really sure yet.
Focusing on
Go ahead.
focusing on the short term.
I mean, if you're asking when we're leaving to go, I
Yeah,
think
just sort of a general itinerary when you're
Yeah.
here, when you go up to Boston.
yeah, we leave. I think we leave Wednesday and Tuesday. See, I told you, I'm on Thursday, so we leave Tuesday and and we'll be up there through Saturday.
You mentioned focusing on the short term, right? And the bowl practice season always feels like such a unique situation because for so much of it, they don't have classes, they're focusing on this one game and opportunity. You want to win the game against UConn, obviously, but what's like the other big goal that you find the team focusing in on in this unique stretch of practices?
The big goal and the only goal is to get better each and every day. And I know I'm kind of being redundant in saying that, but that's truly the only goal, is to get better each and every day. And then we show up next Saturday and see if it's good enough. And yes, of course, if we want to win the game or we wouldn't be playing the game.
In your history, do you find that this is a time when, like, let's say young players can really take a next step and apply what they've learned this season?
100%. Like a lot of these guys that are getting reps now in these last couple of weeks haven't gotten too many reps during the course of the year, especially the ones that have been redshirted per se. So yeah, it's a big opportunity for them. It's a big opportunity for them to show what they can do. It's a big opportunity for our seniors to get ready for the draft and put their best foot forward. So there's a big opportunity for everybody.
Freddie, you can't talk for anybody else, but Matt Brown is such a presence with this university in 2 stints, and he was different from Belichick in terms of his personality.
Right.
How difficult was it for you when all that came down?
Well, I would just say this: Coach Brown has been a staple here at the University of North Carolina and has done a tremendous job. As far as difficult for me, I came back to college football for the kid that I'm coaching, whatever kid that is, and the impact that I have on that individual kid. And so, it was a big task for us to remain physically there and visually there for the kid, because they lost their coach too, and a lot of people tend to forget that. I mean, they lost their coach. So, I think more than just about me or our staff, it's more about the kids at that point.
What were the different reactions, range of reactions from the players?
Yeah, I'll let them react to it however they want to when they talk to the media. I'm not going to speak for them or anything like that. I can just tell you about me.
Freddie, when this thing gets fully set up here, with what it sounds like the vision from Bill and Lombardi is with, having the front office side and almost the coaching side, do you think, just generally, you will have to recruit less because you'll be coaching more and they got all these other people there doing the recruiting? Is that how you sort of envision
Yeah, I don't
what your role
know. I don't know necessarily that, but I do know that we will work tirelessly on both aspects of things, the coaching side and the player acquisition or recruiting or whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, this is a people business, whether you're in the National Football League or in college football. It's about, trying to get the best out of this individual to put his best foot forward, make him the best player possible and best student possible and best person possible, so I can only say that it will be, the work will be tirelessly involved to get us to that point, whatever the setup is.
when you heard the vision, that's another thing that sort of caught people's, attention and imagination. Like, wow, it's kind of a cool setup of how to approach things on a college level. Like, when you have heard the vision laid out, what have you thought about
Well, I think, again, it's not like any other situation that we've been in at times. It still goes back to the same thing as far as making the best decision at that moment on what kids you want to recruit, and it's got to be reciprocated. So then we get to that point, we acquire the best talent we can, the best players we can, and then we go coach them. So that hasn't changed.
All right, thank you.